Water, free, natural, falls from the sky every single day. It just destroyed a $2 billion aircraft. The B-2 Spirit stealth bomber is the most expensive flying machine ever built by human hands. $2 billion per aircraft. Radar invisible, nuclear capable, the kind of weapon that makes entire governments change their foreign policy just knowing it exists. And a few drops of condensation, the same moisture that fogs up your bathroom mirror every morning, brought one down on a runway in Guam. Not an enemy missile, not a mechanical failure years in the making, not a catastrophic design flaw discovered after years of testing. Water, the most common substance on the surface of the Earth. $0 versus $2 billion. And the water. Here is exactly how it happened. And here is why the people who built the most advanced aircraft in history never saw it coming.
Level 1. The most expensive machine ever flown. To feel how impossible this story is, you need to feel what the B-2 actually is. The B-2 Spirit is not just a plane. It is the physical peak of human aviation engineering. Every single component, every wire, every sensor, every surface, designed and built to standards that make commercial aircraft look like children's toys. Its shape is unlike anything else in the sky. A perfect flying wing. No tail, no fuselage, pure geometry designed to scatter radar signals in every direction except back toward the radar receiver that sent them. It can fly 12,000 kilometers without refueling. It can carry 16 nuclear gravity bombs. It can enter the airspace of any country on Earth, and that country's air defense system will see nothing. The United States Air Force operates 20 of them. Total program cost, over $4 billion. Each individual aircraft, $2 billion. To put that in perspective, $2 billion is more than the entire military budget of over half the countries on Earth for one plane. And that plane is maintained with a level of obsessive care that borders on religious. Temperature-controlled hangars, specialized maintenance crews, dedicated climate systems to keep the aircraft surfaces at exact controlled conditions at all times. Because the B-2 is not just a flying machine. It is a flying computer. And on February 23, 2008, at Andersen Air Force Base in Guam, that computer received some bad information from the most unlikely source imaginable. Level 2. The morning of the crash. It was early morning, pre-dawn, the kind of morning where the air is thick and heavy with humidity, where metal surfaces collect moisture just from sitting still, where the difference between dry and damp is invisible to the human eye, but measurable by the right instruments. The Spirit of Kansas, one of the 20 B-2 bombers in existence, was being prepared for takeoff. Crew chiefs had completed their checks. The pilots, two of the most highly trained aviators in the United States Air Force, had completed their pre-flight procedures. Everything looked nominal. But in the pre-dawn humidity of a Pacific Island morning, something was inside a tiny sensor port on the aircraft's skin. Condensation. Just moisture. Just water vapor from the warm, humid air meeting the cooler metal surface of the aircraft, forming into droplets. Invisible, weightless, free. The B-2 has 14 air data sensors, small ports on the surface of the aircraft that measure air pressure, temperature, and airspeed. These sensors feed real-time data to the flight computers that help the pilots fly the aircraft. The B-2 cannot fly without them. The flying wing design that makes it invisible to radar also makes it inherently unstable. Without constant computer correction based on sensor data, the aircraft will not maintain controlled flight. The sensors are the nervous system, and 3 of them, on the left side of the aircraft, had moisture inside them. Not flooding, not damage.
Level 3. The lie the computer believed. The Spirit of Kansas began its takeoff run. The engines, 4 General Electric F-118 turbofans producing 77,000 pounds of thrust, pushed the aircraft forward. Speed building. Everything nominal on the displays. And then, the moisture-contaminated sensors sent a reading to the flight computers. Not an error message, not an alarm, a confident, incorrect reading. The sensors told the computers that the airspeed on the left side of the aircraft was different from the actual airspeed. The computers believed it, because why wouldn't they? These are the sensors. This is what sensors do. They measure reality and report it. The computers had no way of knowing that the reality being reported was wrong. So the computers did exactly what they were designed to do. They compensated. Think about what is happening here. The most sophisticated aviation software ever written, running on the most advanced military aircraft ever built, is making thousands of calculations per second. Every single one of those calculations built on false data. And because the false data was confident and consistent, not random or erratic, the computers had no way to question it. The aircraft rotated, lifted off the runway, and immediately began pitching in a direction the pilots did not command and could not correct.
Level 4, the 8 seconds. From the moment the Spirit of Kansas left the ground to the moment it hit the ground again, 8 seconds. That is how long the most advanced bomber in human history stayed airborne before the false sensor data made controlled flight impossible. The pilots, highly trained, highly experienced, pulled the ejection handles. Both survived. The aircraft did not. The Spirit of Kansas struck the runway and exploded in a fireball that consumed $2 billion of aviation engineering in seconds. Honestly, stop and think about this moment. You are a B-2 pilot. You have trained for years. You are sitting in the most advanced cockpit ever built. Every screen is showing you information. Every computer is running perfectly. And the aircraft is doing something you did not tell it to do and cannot stop. You have seconds to decide. What do you do? Because the two pilots in that cockpit made the right call in under 2 seconds. And they are alive because of it. But the $2 billion machine was already gone.
Level 5, the investigation. The Air Force investigation that followed was exhaustive. Every component analyzed, every data recording reviewed, every maintenance record examined. And what they found, when they traced the chain of events back to its absolute beginning, was moisture. Specifically, the investigation concluded that the pre-flight maintenance crew had not followed the procedure for clearing the air data sensor ports before flight. There was a specific procedure, a heater system, a process for ensuring the sensors were dry and reading correctly before a mission. On this morning, it had not been completed properly. Not sabotage, not equipment failure, not a design flaw, a checklist step. Missed or incomplete on a humid morning on a $2 billion aircraft.
The total loss of the Spirit of Kansas was valued at $1.4 billion, making it at the time the most expensive aviation accident in history. The United States Air Force now had 19 B-2 bombers, down from 20, and there was no replacing it quickly. The production line had been shut down years earlier. The tooling was gone. The specialized workers had moved on. Building a replacement would take years and billions of dollars, if it was even possible at all. All of it gone because of water. And here is the question I want in the comments. The investigation found that maintenance procedure was not followed correctly. But here is the real question. Is the maintenance crew responsible for a $1.4 billion loss because they missed a checklist step on a humid morning? Or is the Air Force responsible for designing a $2 billion aircraft so sensitive that a few drops of morning condensation could bring it down? Because those are two completely different conversations about what the real failure actually was. Drop your answer below. I want to know which side you land on. The B-2 Spirit was built to be invisible. Invisible to radar, invisible to enemies, invisible to every threat that human beings had ever designed to bring down an aircraft. The Air Force spent $45 billion making it invisible to everything they could think of. They forgot about rain. They forgot about morning air. They forgot about the water that forms on every metal surface on the planet every single morning for free. $2 billion. 19 left, brought down by something that falls from the sky that nobody thought to wipe off.